done. Just let everyone get in place. So when you're ready, we're just standing up nice and tall. We're going to have our big toes touching, heels slightly apart, and then just try to spread the toes nice and wide, and then place the toes back down. Just trying to see if you can get these thighs to switch on so they're nice and strong, and then tucking it under with that tailbone. Just letting the shoulders roll down the back, and then lifting the chin. And just getting into some nice deep breaths. So just feeling that chest rise and fall. And just trying to take deeper and deeper breaths each time. Just feeling the shoulders relax down a little. And maybe feeling that breath get a little stronger. And a little louder as well. Here, we'll do 2 more breaths together. Nice big inhale. And exhale. Last one, nice big inhale. And exhale. And just opening the eyes when you're ready. Well done. Inhale, taking those hands all the way up. Squeeze the palms at the top, shoulders drawing down the back. Exhale, just taking those hands all the way out to the side. Just feeling that stretch. Well done. One more time. Nice big inhale, stretch it all the way up. This time try and take the gaze up towards the thumbs. And nice big exhale, stretching all the way back out again. Well done. We're going to come into a side stretch here. So left hand's going to come down to the side of your thigh. Right arm's going to come up and over. And we're trying to reach down towards the left side. A little more. Working your top shoulder back. Feeling that stretch all the way down the side. Well done. Coming all the way back to center. Switching over to do the other side. So right hand's reaching down the side of the thigh. Left arm's reaching up and over. Pulling that shoulder back. And nice big exhale to come all the way back. Well done. We're going to come into a nice forward fold here. So inhale, stretch all the way up again. Gazing up at the thumbs. And exhale, just starting to fold forwards as you take the hands down towards the floor. Drop the head as well. And then just start to work out through the knees. So pedaling out through the legs. Don't worry if the hands don't touch down towards the floor. Just keep the head dropped down as well. So we're keeping the neck nice and long. Well done. And then just taking the hands onto the hips. We're going to roll up nice and slowly. Chin on the chest. And come all the way up to standing. Well done. We're going to work through some standing sun salutations now, just to try and speed up, to warm up the body a little bit more, get that breath building as well. Big toes touching at the front. Nice big inhale, stretching those hands all the way up. Gazing up at the thumbs, shoulders pulling down the back. Exhale, we're going to work our way down towards the floor. Try to get the legs nice and strong, so pulling up through the kneecaps. We want to stretch the back of the legs. Feel those thighs switch on. Drop the head as well. Inhale, coming up halfway. We're going to try and squeeze the shoulder blades here and pull the shoulders down the back. Well done. Exhale, folding back down. This time try and bend your knees and try to just push lightly into those hands. So just trying to shift the weight slightly. You might be able to lift the hips, the heels off the floor slightly. Lift the hips up a little higher and then just try to work into those shoulders. Well done. Release the heels back down and then inhale, sweeping those hands all the way back up towards the ceiling. All the way back to standing. Well done. That was our standing sun salutation. We're going to do one more of those. Nice big inhale, stretching all the way up. Squeeze the palms, pull the shoulders down the back. Exhale, folding forwards. Down towards the floor, legs switch on, thighs nice and strong, drop the head. Inhale, nice flat back. Squeeze the shoulder blades, pull the shoulders down the back. Well done. Exhale, fold down. Bend the knees, plant your hands, and then just try to shift the weight into those hands a little more, pushing into that upper back, maybe shifting the weight onto the toes, and pushing back into those heels. And taking those hands all the way back up again. And all the way back to standing. Well done. So hopefully the breath's building a little bit now. We're going to come into our standing sequence. So take a nice big step all the way out to the right. And we're coming into our triangle pose here. So our back foot is nice and parallel. Right foot's pointing towards the back of the mat. And we want to try and keep this back hip working back. So it will want to come forward, but try to pull it back as much as you can. Tuck under the tailbone to help, so you feel that stretch a little more. And then take those arms all the way out. Inhale, lift here. And exhale, starting to come down towards that right shin, maybe the knee, maybe the ankle. And then take that gaze up towards the top thumb. We're feeling this stretch all the way down the side, still working that hip back, still tucking under the tailbone and squeezing that left buttock. So our back leg's really strong. Front leg, we're pulling up through the kneecap. And then just try and work the chin away from that top shoulder. Feeling that stretch each exhale. One more breath here. Well done. Pushing into the front knee to release. Coming all the way back up. Well done, everyone. We're pivoting around to do the left side. Left foot is forward this time. Back foot's nice and parallel with the back of the mat. And again, tuck under that tailbone. Squeeze that buttock. And then starting to come down towards that left shin, the ankle, maybe the knee. And again, start to work your top shoulder back. So it might want to drop down. So the lower you go, the more that shoulder's going to want to drop forward. So maybe go a little higher. Try and get those shoulders to stack over each other. Gaze is up towards the top thumb. And again, we're tucking under with that tailbone. So really work into that right buttock. Feeling that stretch into the front of the thigh as well. Down the side of the body. Left leg is strong. We're pulling up through the kneecap. And again, just working that chin away from the shoulder if you can. Pull the ribs in towards the back of the chest. We're going to do one more breath. Well done. Good work. Looking down at the front foot, pushing into the knee. Bring it all the way back up. Well done. Just taking a nice big step forward. Shake it out through those legs. Well done. I'm going to take another nice big step all the way out. We're going to come into those hips now. So go a little bit wider if you can than we did on that last one. And again, turn that right foot towards the back. This time we're going to bend this right knee, so sinking down nice and low. And again, we're going to try and work nice and strong into this back leg. So tucking under the tailbone, squeeze that left buttock if you can, and then start to sink down a little lower. You can drop your right elbow down on top of the thigh, or you can go a little lower and go for your bind, or you can work your hand down to the outside of that right foot to go lower. We're going to work this top arm back, so you can take it to the lower back. We want to try and open out across the chest a little more here. Keep tucking under that tailbone. And then also try and work your right knee out slightly. So it might want to start to work its way into the center, but keep working it out if you can. Sinking nice and low. Pull that top shoulder back. You can gaze up towards the ceiling. Good. We're going to do 2 more breaths here. Try and get a little bit more engagement. So try and squeeze the heels towards each other. Sinking a little lower. 1 more breath. Well done. Pushing into the front knee, coming all the way back up. Well done, and pivoting it all the way back around. So left foot is forward this time, sinking nice and low. Again, just try and tuck under with that tailbone, feeling that stretch down the top of that right thigh, and again, just sinking down with the elbow, maybe going for the bind, or maybe take the hand down to the outside of that foot to go further. The main thing is that we try to really tuck under with that tailbone and keep this back leg nice and strong. So working here, top hand's going to reach around to the lower back, pulling that shoulder back if you can. Nice deep breaths. Sinking a little lower each exhale. Working that left knee out as well. 2 more breaths. We're going to try and squeeze those heels towards each other. Feel that engagement into the legs a little bit more. 1 more breath, keep squeezing. Well done, and release by pushing into the knee, coming all the way back up. Have that nice big wide stance and nice big step all the way back to the front. Shake it out. Well done. We're going to take another nice big step all the way out. We're going to try and get into a forward fold here. So again, we're going to try and get into those hips. So we have been looking at the direction of people's pelvis the last couple of weeks. So if you know that you need to have your toes turned inwards or outwards, then please go ahead with that. Otherwise, just keep your feet nice and parallel and then start to lift up nice and tall. And just take the hands onto the hips to start. And then take a nice inhale, lift up through the chest. And exhale, we're going to start to fold forwards. Thighs switched on, so they're nice and strong, pulling up through the kneecaps and starting to fold forwards. So you can keep the hands on the hips or the waist if you want to. Keep the head lifted if you don't want to drop it down. And then if you do want to go a little further, take the fingertips down, maybe the hands, and then start to work the head down as well. Legs are strong throughout this. So really pulling up through the kneecaps. Feeling that stretch down the back of the legs. Nice deep breaths. So we're using that exhale to go a little bit further. Inhale, we might feel the extension into the spine. Exhale, sinking into it a little further. 2 more breaths. You might feel the sit bones start to spread and lift up towards the ceiling as well. Well done. Inhale, lift, look forwards. Exhale, take the hands to the waist. And inhale, coming all the way back up, nice and slowly. Well done, everyone. Taking that nice big step all the way back to the front. Just shake it out. Well done. Good. So we just want to try to stretch out the back of the hamstrings there. We're going to have a little go at doing our balancing now. So we're going to have a go at doing our tree pose to start with. So big toes to start, touching if you can. And then heels slightly apart. Shift the weight into that left leg. I'm going to take that right foot to the side of the calf. We can go a bit higher and go above and just go above the knee. So just try and avoid the knee if you can do. And then once you're there, keep this standing leg nice and strong. Tuck under with that tailbone. So you want to feel the buttocks squeeze, start to engage. And then also try to feel that length as you lift up and get a little taller. I'm taking the hands to heart center. I just feel those shoulders relax down the back as well. Nice deep breaths. Main thing is I want you to try and keep tucking under with that tailbone. Really squeeze the buttocks. Working this right knee back a little more so you can open out that hip. Good, 2 more breaths. The balancing is sometimes the hardest one when we start out on our yoga journey, so just trying to get some balancing into your day will help. Just to get a little stronger, and you start moving on to some other ones. Well done. Just releasing the hands from here, pull that knee forwards, and release it down. Well done. I'm switching over to do the other side, so shift the weight into that right leg. Again, just taking the left foot either to the side of the calf, or you can go a bit higher. Go above the knee and go into the side of the thigh. And we're avoiding the knee because we want to push this foot into the side of the leg, just so we can engage this left leg rather than just feeling it relax. We want to make sure that it's working just as much as that standing leg. Tuck under that tailbone again. Pull the belly in, pull the ribs in as well. Hands to heart center. Feeling the shoulders relax down the back. Working with those nice deep breaths. Good, still tucking under, squeeze the buttocks. 1 more breath. Well done, release the hands. Pulling that knee forwards and release, shake it out. Well done, everyone. Okay, from the middle of the mat, we're going to have a little go at doing our wide-legged warrior here. So take a step forward with the right foot and then drop your left knee down towards the floor. Okay, we're just going to try and get into a twist here, so it's going to help with our hips, and then we'll have a little look at that warrior 1. So taking your hands to heart center, take a nice big inhale, lift up here, and then exhale, just starting to twist over towards that right side. Good, so starting to feel that twist. If you want to go a little further, you're going to hook that left elbow over the right knee. So you're going to feel that stretch all the way down the outside of that right leg, all the way up to the hip, and then start to open out the chest as well. Keep the hands at heart center, so they might want to lift up towards the shoulder as your body sinks down, but try to work and lift up so those hands stay at heart center. Keep pushing down into that back foot so we're nice and strong, feeling a little more stable, a little more balanced. 2 more breaths. Just using that exhale to go a little further. Well done. Just release by looking forwards, release those hands, and then just coming back. So we're still in this position with our back knee down. From here, you can keep that back knee down if you want to. If you want to go a little further, you're going to tuck under the toes on that back foot and try to lift and push into that back heel. So we're going to come up quite high, and what we want to try and do is really tuck under with that tailbone so that we're starting to engage the buttocks. Feeling that strength build to the top of that left thigh, just stretching out the hip flexor as well. Working here, so we've got this lift going on by tucking under with the tailbone. And then so you can either just keep the hands on the hips, or you might even need a wall just to help with the balance. And then if you want to go further, we're going to take the hands behind you. Try and clasp the fingers and then really start to work the shoulder blades together and pull the shoulders down the back. There's no need to straighten the arms necessarily. Don't want to hyperextend into the elbows. But you can still really pull those shoulders down the back. Good, 2 more breaths. Feel that chest lift. 1 more. Well done, release the hands. And then nice and slowly just lowering it all the way back down. Well done, I'm going to stretch out this front leg here. So if you shift your hips back, you can take the fingertips either side of that front leg. And then just start to push the heel forward slightly. So it's going to feel like your right leg wants to slide forwards. And you should feel that engagement then. Pull up through the kneecap so it's nice and strong into that thigh. And then start to fold forwards to stretch the back of the leg a little more. Good, 2 more breaths. Try and keep that engagement. 1 more. Well done. Coming all the way back up. And then just releasing that right knee back, and we'll switch over to do the other side. So left foot forward this time. Again, we're going to try and get that twist here. So our left foot is forward, pushing down into this back right leg. Nice big inhale, lift up into the chest, and then exhale, twisting over towards the left. You can hook that right elbow over the left knee this time. So you can really hook it over. And again, try to keep those hands to heart center. So try not to let them lift up towards the shoulder. Keep pulling them down. So you feel that a little more, working with that leverage we've created. Feeling that stretch all the way down the outside of that left thigh, and then trying to open the chest, so pulling that left shoulder back. Nice deep breaths. 2 more. 1 more. Well done. Release the hands, coming back up, and then we'll switch over to do that long warrior. So again, just tucking under with the back toes and start to lift the back knee up off the floor. So we've got this wide-legged warrior here. And then we're trying to feel this stretch a little bit more. So really start to tuck under with the tailbone. Do you feel that engagement? You feel like you're lifting up a little higher. Working here. Nice and strong is that back leg. See if you can get the thigh to switch on a little bit. And then if you feel like your hips lifting quite a lot on that right side, just try and draw your right knee in towards the center line, and you'll feel that right hip drop down. So it's going to make it a little more difficult, but you should feel that a lot more. And then we'll take the hands into position as well. So you can either work where you are, or take those hands all the way behind you. Clasp the fingers and start to squeeze the shoulder blades and pull the shoulders down the back as well. So working into those upper back muscles, stretching the front of the chest, which is often quite tight. This sort of thing will help with improving posture. Good, 2 more breaths. Keep tucking under that tailbone, lifting the chest. 1 more breath. Well done, release the hands, and then just dropping that back knee down nice and slowly. Well done, you can turn that foot over, and then we're going to stretch this front leg. So again, just starting to straighten the legs, shift the hips backwards, fingers down either side just to give you a bit more support. And then start to feel like you're pushing your heel forwards. So you're going to feel that engagement switch on into the leg. Maybe starting to fall down towards that leg as well. Nice deep breaths. Feeling that stretch down the back of the leg. Rounding the lower back slightly, so we're stretching out those back muscles. 1 more breath. Well done. Inhale, coming back up. Well done. And then you can take a nice big step all the way back up to standing. Well done. Good work, everyone. We're going to carry on with our warriors. We're going to try and do warrior 2 now. So warrior 1, we always have our hips facing forwards, and warrior 2, we actually open our hips out to the side. So very similar to our side lunge that we did before, but we're just going to try and work a little bit more on the posture in the upper body. So with your feet nice and wide, turn your right foot towards the back of the mat, and you want your heels on this imaginary straight line if you can. Then start to sink into that right leg. So lunging into it. And then just notice what's happening with the bottom, maybe it's sticking out slightly. So if you tuck under that tailbone, you'll squeeze this left back buttock and start to pull in a little bit more here. So really work there, holding there. You'll also notice this knee starts to come in. So we want to try and work it out towards the right, keeping up nice and tall, and then take those arms out nice and wide. So you should feel quite strong here. Gazes towards the right fingers. And you can start to sink a little lower on that exhale without losing that tuck under of the tailbone. You should feel that stretch all the way down that back leg. Relax the shoulders a little. Pull the ribs in. Good, 2 more breaths. We're going to try and squeeze those heels together. So you should feel really strong now. Last breath, keep squeezing. Well done, good work. We're going to come into our reverse warrior here. So you can drop your left hand down to the back thigh. Just straighten this front leg slightly, or lift up slightly, and start to take your right hand up towards the ceiling. Just feeling that stretch down the front. Take the gaze up towards that top hand. Nice and strong in the back leg still. 1 more breath. Well done, coming all the way back into that warrior 2. Well done, straightening that front leg now. I'm going to pivot all the way around to do the left. So bringing that right foot in, left foot is now pointing towards the front of the mat, and then you're going to start to sink into that leg again. Good, so we're nice and low here. Again, just try to tuck under the tailbone. So you can always take your hand on the belly, your other hand on the lower back, and then again, try to really tuck under. Feel that belly lift up, feel the buttocks drop down, that tailbone drop down, and again, just checking in with that left knee. So your left knee is going to work out, and again, you should feel really strong here. Good, you can keep the hands there if it helps you, otherwise taking those hands all the way out. Feel like somebody's trying to pull both hands at the same time. Feel the shoulders relax. So we just want to avoid them coming up towards the ears, so feel them pulling down the back. 2 more breaths. We're going to try and squeeze those heels towards each other again. Feel that engagement. Feel that strength building. 1 more breath. Well done. Then just lift up those hips slightly, and then again taking that back hand down to the inside of that back thigh, stretching up with that top hand, coming into our reverse warrior, pulling that top shoulder down, so try not to lift it up too high, Just releasing the neck muscles. One more breath. Well done. Coming all the way back into that warrior two. Well done. And then we're going to work our way down towards the floor. So taking that front hand down towards the outside of that front foot, your back hand can come and reach forward as well. And then pivoting on the back foot, just taking your back foot all the way back, doing this nice strong plank. Well done. We're going to lower down towards the floor and then lower all the way down with the chest. Good. Just start to roll the shoulders down the back. We're going to come into a half up dog here. So roll the shoulders down the back, squeeze the elbows in, switch the legs on, squeeze the buttocks and start to lift the chest. Pull the elbows in. One more breath. Well done. Lowering the chest back down. You can come onto the knees. Push it into your downward facing dog. So that nice V shape with the body. Lifting those hips up and back. And then when you're ready, just looking forwards, taking your feet towards the front, or you can drop down onto your knees and then just take those feet all the way out in front of you. Well done. I'll let you adjust the screens if you need to, just so that you can see. We'll be mostly down on the floor now from here. We've got a couple more to go and then we'll do some relaxation. So with your legs out in front of you, we just want to try and work it into the back and the shoulders a little more here. So something to kind of help with improving our posture. So you take the hands down or the fingertips down to the side of the hips, or even a little bit further back, and just try to squeeze your shoulder blades together. So you feel your chest push forwards, and then start to work the shoulders down the back as well. And just feeling that lower back get a little straighter. Keep pushing the chest through. Try and keep the legs switched on nice and strong. And we're just going to try and slow that breath down. So nice deep inhales. Nice deep exhales. Good. 2 more breaths. One more. Well done. And just release the shoulders here. And we're going to come into a nice forward fold. So if you take your hands forward, you might be able to grab hold of the top of the shins, the ankles, or you might be able to grab the outside of the feet or even the toes. Maybe 2 fingers around the big toes. And then we're going to try and fold forwards here. So I know some of you at the minute are working on trying to stretch out your lower back, in which case try to really fold and stretch and round that lower back so you can stretch out those tight lower back muscles a little more. Maybe if you are working and you want to get a little more flexible and work towards your toes, instead of trying to really reach forward, just try to think about sitting up a lot taller. So sometimes having a strap to hold on to the bottom of the feet will help. And just use it to try and find that length in the lower back. So that might be your forward fold, or just grab hold of the top of the knees or the shins and try to pull that chest through. And you're going to feel that length, that extension into the lower back. So sometimes not every posture is one fits all. Sometimes you have to modify for our own body type. Good. 2 more breaths here. 1 more. Well done. Lifting out and release the hands. Well done. We're going to try and work a little bit more into our shoulders, and again to stretch out the chest, and again to help with posture. So take the hands behind you, and you want to try and get your fingertips facing forwards. We're going to take them a little further away from the hips, and you want them shoulder width apart as well. So from here, we're then going to push into the hands and lift the chest. As you do, your shoulders are going to start to come down the back. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and feel the elbows pull it in as well. Then to make this harder, keep your legs out nice and straight. If you want to go a little, if you want to make this a little easier, then bend the knees. I'm going to try and lift all the way up. So starting to lift the hips, push into the chest, hold in here. You can always drop the head back. We're going for 5 breaths. 1, squeeze the buttocks if you can, tuck the tailbone. 2, if you have got those legs out straight, it's going to be a little harder. 3, 4, try and squeeze those legs together. And 5, well done, lowering it all the way back down. Good work, everyone. We're crossing the feet here. You can do what we call a vinyasa, where we just try and move through a flow of postures with the breath. So if you're doing that with me, take your hands forward, step your feet back to plank, and coming down to that half press up. So again, you can always modify, drop the knees, lowering the chest down. Inhale, roll the shoulders down the back, start to lift the chest. Switch the legs on, squeeze the buttocks, lift the chest a little bit more. Inhale, work the shoulders down the back. Well done, lowering down, coming onto those knees, tuck the toes into that downward facing dog. Stretch it out, feel like you're lengthening the spine. And again, coming through to seated when you're ready. So again, crossing at the feet if you can. It's a good habit for me if you can build that in, otherwise just coming down to the floor, however which way you can. And then we're going to start working our way down to what we call closing sequence. So with this one, take your feet nice and wide, and you want your toes to turn out slightly, just so we're working with our hips. And then start to take your head down, your shoulders back as well, so just completely relaxed in the upper body. And then again, we're going to try and work into the lower body here. So you can draw your feet in a little closer to the body, but still keep those feet nice and wide, toes turning out slightly, and then start to tuck under with the tailbone and start to push into those feet as you lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Tuck the tailbone under, and you want to really squeeze the buttocks here. You can have the hands just underneath to give you a little more support, or keep them onto the mat. Nice deep breaths. The main thing here is that we're really engaging the buttocks. Feeling the thighs switch on as well. And then just to work a little harder, we're going to try and squeeze those inner heels down towards the floor. So those inner thighs are going to really fire up now. They should feel really strong, which means really hard or really difficult. One more breath here. Well done, lowering all the way back down. Good work. We're going to try and get our lower back into the mat. So really round the back, tuck the tailbone slightly, and then start to pull your knees in towards the chest. You can still keep them nice and wide, so we're getting into those hips a little bit. And then we're going to try and do that one more time. So again, just taking your feet out. So your feet are nice and wide. Toes turned out slightly again, and then when you're ready, you're going to start to tuck that tailbone, really push into the feet and start to lift the hips up. So we're starting to fire up the buttocks, squeeze the buttocks, lift the pelvis a little higher by tucking under with that tailbone. Feel that switch on, fire up. And then just try to pick up the toes if you can. So you might be able to spread your toes and lift them up off the floor. And to do this, we really need to be pushing into the base of that big toe. But what this is going to do is really fire up the arches in the feet. So activating the arches of the feet. You should feel this is a lot stronger into the legs, into the buttocks, into the outside of those hips. And again, just start to squeeze those inner heels down towards the floor. So we're firing up those inner thighs. 3 more breaths. Remember, it's difficult, but it's working. 2 more. 1 more. Well done, everyone. Lowering down nice and slowly. And again, just pushing that lower back into the mat. Feel that push down. Pull the knees in one at a time. And then again, just hugging them in. Keep them nice and wide still. And then we're going to come into our happy baby pose. So a bit of an unusual one if you've never done this before. We're going to try and take our feet up a little, so just stretch them as if you're stretching them up towards the ceiling, but keep the knees bent. And then either just grab the back of the thighs, pull the knees in towards you, or you might be able to grab hold of the outside of the feet or the inside, and then just get a little bit of resistance as well. So your knees are nice and wide. It might feel like your knees are trying to come to the outside of your hips, pulling down towards the floor. So your hands are working those knees down. And at the same time, your feet are wanting to push up towards the ceiling and push your lower back into the mat. So you've just got that little bit of resistance. You might feel like you're naturally just rocking. That's absolutely fine because we're rounding our back. And then just release nice and slowly when you're ready. Just pulling those knees in a little bit closer together and then rocking up to seated. Well done. You can work through another vinyasa here, and then we're going to work on our inversions. So if you are doing that vinyasa again, take the hands forward, step your feet back to plank, going down to that half press up, and again working into that half up dog. So just starting to roll the shoulders down the back, fire up the legs, squeeze the elbows, lift the chest, pull the shoulders down the back. Well done. Coming into your downward facing dog. Just lengthening through the spine. And again, coming through to seated. Well done. Okay, from here we're going to come into our inversions, and then we'll come into our final resting posture. So inversions, you can do feet up the wall. So if you have a wall near you, you can literally swing around and rest your feet on the wall. Maybe you want to take your feet up a little higher, just hold here if you don't have a wall nearby. And just completely relax. So just try to slow that breath down. We just want to keep the feet higher than the head and the heart. You might want to work towards your shoulder stand. You might want to work into your headstand. So just wherever you're at. If you want to work on that shoulder stand, or it's something you want to look at, you can do half shoulder stand. The main thing with shoulder stand is you want to avoid the back of the neck touching the floor. So you want to look after your neck. So half shoulder stand will just help you to get that same feeling and will help you to work towards full shoulder stand. So take your hands down, lift your feet up, and your hips come up, and then just take hold of the lower back, wherever that is. Just working there. You should feel that your neck is high, so it's not on the mat. And just getting used to being in this position. It will help you to stretch out the lower back and just help you to start working towards it, towards that full shoulder stand. Okay, another alternative is to work on your headstand. Maybe you're working on your handstand. Maybe you're working on dolphin pose, which is a really good one to work towards that headstand. Just make sure those elbows are in nice and close. So you want them in narrower than your shoulders. So if you are working on this one, you want to clasp your fingers. Elbows are a little narrower than the shoulders, and you've created this nice triangle with your arms. Tuck your toes under, and then start to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. And then just to make it a little harder, you can walk your feet in. But the main thing is that we're really pushing into that upper back, and we're starting to round that upper back as well. Pull your ribs in to make this a little harder, and push those elbows down towards the floor. Doesn't matter if the legs aren't straight, just working wherever you're at. I'm going to try and do 5 breaths if you're in this one. And just nice and slowly lower the knees down, and you can sink down into child's pose. So for this, we just let the hips drop down. You can let the head drop down as well. And then if you want to start making your way down from shoulder stand or feet up the wall, again, just nice and slowly. So if you're in that shoulder stand, just rolling down, using your abs to slowly bring those legs down. Have a little hugging of the knees or a little rock and roll. And then still resting in that child's pose if you're coming out of headstand. Just bearing in mind that we've had a lot of blood rush to the head, so staying in that child's pose straight after headstand will just help. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way into our final relaxation, which is Shavasana. So we're just going to lie flat on our back. If you want to do a vinyasa first, stretch out, maybe you just want to do a down dog or just an up dog, whichever one you want to work with, or maybe you're just done and you're ready for your Shavasana. In which case, you're going to just take your feet out nice and wide here. And then one of the things that you can do for Shavasana is just to really help that lower back sink down into the mat, is if you actually roll down. So keep your legs nice and strong. Take your hands out in front of you and just start to roll down slowly. So using your abs to roll down. Let the head come down and just let the shoulders completely relax. If you take your hands a little away from the body as well, with the palms facing up, that will just help to keep the chest nice and open and allow those shoulders to sink down a little further. You can tuck the chin slightly so the neck is nice and long, and just feel those feet completely relaxed. Now just taking a nice big deep breath in. Big sigh out through the mouth. And just allowing that breath to return to its natural rhythm. Just relaxing your feet. And your calves. Your knees and your thighs. And feel your hips just sink down into the earth. Relaxing your lower back, your upper back. And feel your shoulders just sink down into the earth. Just observing your thoughts and letting them pass. Just staying where you are, just taking a nice big deep breath in. Big sigh out through the mouth. And just starting to maybe feel some movement into the body. Maybe wiggling the fingers or the toes. And maybe having a nice big stretch up and over. Maybe clasping the fingers, turning the palms up and away. And just feeling that stretch all the way down to the toes. Releasing the hands, drawing the knees into the chest. Just having a little hug in or a little rock from side to side. And just rolling over to the right hand side. Now making your way up to seated when you're ready. Well done, everybody. We're just going to take our hands to heart center to finish. Namaste.